Hello, happy Sunday. Welcome to Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light. Come on in, invite your friends, share this out. We have such a fun show for you guys today. We just want to say thank you all for hanging out with us every Sunday. We love spending time with you. It feeds our soul every Sunday that we get to do this. So I'm going to pass this over to Rhonda. She's going to tell you who our guests are, and you guys are in for a real special treat today. So thank you all, and Rhonda.
Hey everyone, I hope you're sharing this out because I'm still waiting for it to come on Facebook, but I'm sure it is there. There we are. So please share it out and let us know in the comments that you shared it out, because sometimes Facebook doesn't tell us. So at the end, when we give away a session for you, we need to know who you are and let us know where you're calling from. But today we have returning guests, and I'm so glad I'm here together with them. I mean, I know them both from meeting them before, and Kat I have a friendship with, as well as, I guess, Angie's a new friend. So I'm happy to meet you all, and I'm going to just get my tech up. Teresa may be popping in. She's been having technical difficulties, and we're trying to get her dragon to fix everything else up. So at the time. So we'll take a breath, and I want to introduce Kat Bendure and Angie Grimes. They're from their company, or their group, Current, I believe is what you call it. And I want them to tell each other about themselves, and I'm supposed to let Angie go first, and how they met and what they're offering this coming spring, which sounds very exciting to get into it. And it always reminds me of a Dr. Dyer quote, which is, when you change the way you look at things, things change. So I think that might be like a core thing that's going on here. So Angie, let us know about yourself and introduce yourself again to us.
Sure. Hi. Thank you so much for having us. We're thrilled to be here. And my name is Angie Grimes. I am a self-professed quantum architect. And essentially what that means is I just have the accessibility to get the design information for a person, the unique individual, and what is possible for them to access here on this plane. I have been in business for quite some time. Kat and I joined a little over a year ago. We just had our first anniversary. Yay! And we have spent really the past year, I'm going to say, learning how to co-create, because it's like it's a different situation when you're kind of used to creating and being in your own space. And we have really weaved something together that we're just beyond thrilled to share with you a little bit later.
That's awesome.
I'll go next. I'm Kat Bendure, and as Angie said, we partnered about a year ago. We actually met at a retreat quite a while before everything came together, and got on the phone to get to know each other better last February, 2 Februarys ago, and literally the universe opened up, is how I would describe it. So we've been having a whole lot of fun channeling information and understanding, creating programs, and as Angie said, getting better at co-creating, which, cosmic joke, that was hilarious. We've gotten a lot better at that over time, and a lot more patient, I think. And let's see, what do I do? I don't have a cool title like quantum architect yet. Maybe someday. I guess I would say I access other worlds and dimensions to kind of see the truth of who someone is, what's possible, who they've been, lineage, whatever kind of information might pop up, what's in the way, what's working well, and I communicate with all forms of consciousness, and enjoy doing that to help people move along their path and get to fully embody what they came here for.
Don't let her fool you. Not only does she get to enjoy it, she is a master, like a master in action. So,
oh yeah.
What a nice thing to say. Right back at all of you.
Own it, own it. Yeah. So you've been working your way through what you are doing best together and sort of finding the best way to go to it. Um, and that brings us to what's coming up for the both of you now. You both have your unique gifts, and we know from personal experience that when we get together with someone else, that our gifts are expanded and we are able to mesh, especially when it's sort of like a soul thing that, yeah, we are meant to be together and this is what we're here to correct. So tell us about how you and your soulmate, business soulmate, are going to figure this out. What are you going to be doing for the world? Because it sounds like it's a world mission kind of thing.
Well, Rhonda, first of all, I love that you said business soulmate, because Kat and I have laughed many a time that it's a good thing neither of us is like a male in this relationship, because if we tried to throw any sort of like sexual anything into this, it would just be a disaster. And it's a perfection the way that it is. There is so much love. I think when we talk about each other, it's probably people. I have been asked, people think we're in relationship together.
Well, you are in a different kind of way,
Right.
at a soulful level, and that's and people don't understand. There's so many different ways to be like.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Connected.
It's lovely. So we have been working to create a program that's called Foundations. Like I said, it's been a year in the making, and we are just thrilled kind of with how much we've grown in the process, right? Because that's really what it's about. What you had mentioned is how we have grown in the process and how our understandings have broadened and deepened what we're here to actually share. It's really about creating an internal focus, but even more so an internal focus of embodiment. We're not here to just understand concepts. We are here to embody them, live them out, and act them on this plane. A lot of individuals talk about ascension and 5D and kind of being like way out here. And I personally, and I know that Kat, I'm going to speak for both of us, which I usually don't do, but it's really about bringing it in here. It's about grounding in to the earth these higher dimensional concepts of living and being and experiencing in that way. So that's kind of how I would just preface like what we've been working towards. And I know Kat has a lot to share about it as well.
First, I want to say hi to Melinda.
Hi, Melinda.
I saw her name come across the screen. I love you, Melinda. I love that you said soulmates. I love that you spoke to everything becoming expanded when we get together and share with others, because I feel like that is, I couldn't have said it any better. It's so true. The experience, what has opened up, I think, for both of us, what we're both aware of and able to move through, interact with, is entirely different. And it isn't just that what I do for my experience is expanded, or what Angie does for her experience is expanded. There's like a whole new spectrum of things, because one of the things that I've noticed about the two of us, I know she'll agree, is we're always in complete polarity. If she says X, I say Y, like 100% of the time. And really, I used to live in X, and I think she used to live in Y. And there's this whole beautiful spectrum that has opened up that we have access to in a very different way. And I think it's really cool for the people that we spend time with, that we work with, integrate with, because they're actually receiving a fuller spectrum of information and activation and understanding, support, because of that spectrum. I mean, I'm receiving all those things too. Everybody in the equation is. And that has been absolutely life-changing for me. And I believe it is for everybody who gets to experience that in whatever way they get to experience it. With regard to the course, gosh, there are so many different things that I could speak to here. the internal versus the external focus sounds like such a simple idea, right? Like, look inward instead of out here. I feel like most of us, culturally, socially, in our families, the whole nine, we all learn to look for validation from other places in the world, from outside ourselves. And I feel like the things that we're taught about our feelings, or not taught about our feelings, are so totally off base. And our understanding of our own personal development, our energetic and physical development, every single piece and part of it, from the fact that we are not a separable part of the rest of the universe, right? We're not just, I think people talk about the fact that we're all connected, but I think a lot of us, when we think about that we are, energetically connected, or if we reach out, we can reach other people or something like that. There literally is, if you think about the universe as this mesh of fractal fabric, we're all in it. We're not separated by anything. We can't be separated by anything. And how the auric bodies and the chakra system works and the development of that at different ages. And when you start to look at all this stuff and the backside chakras and the front side chakras, like, seriously, I'm talking about too much here, but like, what develops at what time and why, how the mental and the emotional and the physical interplay all come together to create a circumstance that really we need to overcome on purpose. So this soup of challenge, if you will, that we are required to move through and learn from in order to get to really the reason that we're here. And how do you do that? How do you recognize, how do you understand what's operating, what you think is true versus what is actually true with a capital T? What is your understanding? What are you able to embody? What sort of awareness do you have in the moment about what's going on so that you can understand and choose, be present, and not in a state of anxiety thinking about the past or what the future is going to bring. And so it's really probably too much. A soup of things that it isn't one thing, but they are simple constructs. And when you put them together, they build something. That's why we call it foundations, that you can have a solid place from which to function and move into the future. And it's, as Angie said, all about creating those awarenesses so that we can actually embody the fullness of what we came here to embody and do.
So you guys, from what I'm saying, thinking and seeing, some people get stuck on a trauma and they have it replaying a loop and a loop and a loop, and it shapes their whole life.
Yeah.
So you want them to look at that trauma as just one little thing that happened to them in the whole thing, or how do you work? Like, what would you say? How does that work? Like that trauma, to get rid of that trauma so they can get on with what their higher purpose is, or whatever. Because some people get stuck in that loop and they can't go beyond.
Totally.
So as Kat had mentioned, I think it's interesting because there's lots of layers to the way that we're fractally structured. And all of them play together. You know, we think that we have this just physical body or this physicality, and you may get sick or you may have something physical going on. Well, there's lots of layers to this. There's feelings, there's mental layers, there's the auric body, there's all of the stuff that we're doing to actually build out your light body. There's all of these things that we don't really address. We look at physical symptoms as a physical construct and then think, how do I manage, really, I'm just going to use that word, my physical symptoms? The scenario is all of these things actually interplay together and interact together. So it's really about not only creating the understanding, but creating the awareness of what is happening, and then the practices to process them, which is really what we're here to do, is to process. And we do get stuck. We hold on to them. They are part of our cellular structure, which does end up creating all of those other physical symptoms. You know, there are spaces that it's really interesting when you talk about the internal. Melinda, I love what you said about I look outward to determine my inner work. The scenario with the inner work is when your external looks and feels a particular way, it's really the universe's way of telling you that you're just strayed from your path. It's okay. It's not irreparable. There is nothing here that cannot be overcome. And there is pain when we're in our pain body. It's really directing us to move into what our energy was destined to be channeled into. And that's all that this construct is asking us to recognize. And I'm sure Kat has a lot more to share there as well.
Not a lot more. That was brilliant. The only thing I would add is that just want to say, would never call a trauma that somebody experienced little or diminish in any way. They're big, and they feel big. They can be extremely overwhelming and very challenging to move through and place in a healthy, functional way in our lives. And understanding them and working with them and moving into something that feels better isn't about making them go away or thinking that they're not a big deal or any of that at all in any way. I do think that it's helpful to understand that oftentimes with regard to challenge, I'm just going to call them challenging circumstances on the spectrum, from the smallest one to the biggest one anyone can imagine. Most of us develop stories around them. And those stories over time, there are parts of the story that can become cemented, sticking you to a spot like cement boots. And there are parts of the story that can morph over time and become better or worse, if you will, more challenging or less challenging. And what I like to focus on, what we like to focus on, is developing awareness around that. Really becoming present. This is not necessarily digging into the trauma. This is not counseling work. This is becoming present to where you are now and understanding what is operating in your life now. Not was and not will be, but what is operating in your life now. What is the truth of you? We do have exercises that we go through to help people to hone in on that. What is accurate and what is story? What is something that you're engaging in that isn't true, isn't helping you, in fact, is probably really harming in a number of ways. And what can we all come to better understand about what the truth is and what's possible in this circumstance? I feel like that really is kind of everything. I mean, we all go through life with story about everything, everywhere we go. It happens like this. It's the mental body, the mind, and the dialogue that we all have that I'm trying not to swear, and I swear a lot. So I can't.
Go ahead.
Another word. The mental fury that becomes so alive when our dialogue just goes and goes and goes, and we don't notice it, we don't unwind it, we don't choose to become very aware of what's going on there and choose something different. And so having practices to put in place to gain awareness around all the things that Angie said, around all the things that I am alluding to, and seems simple. It's not really. The ideas, the constructs are simple. Putting it in play, I believe, takes a lot of practice over a lifetime, but it is absolutely life-changing. Everyone around you will notice. All of your results will be different. Everything will be different. And then there's also, go ahead.
Rhonda's muted, so she's talking, but yeah, Angie just disappeared.
Angie just disappeared. Hopefully it wasn't another one of those big storms we were talking about earlier.
So what I'm getting from this is that a big part of this is, as Linda mentioned, the external is the feedback for the internal state, and being able to learn how to work with that in the opposite way of letting the internal state, being more mindful of how your internal state does create your external situation, your external life. and being able to kind of learn how to purify your perceptions so that you're not creating from an internal space of life's congestions and challenges, but more from a place of really being able to hone in on what it is that you want to feel and experience more. And then instead of letting the emotions rule you, learning to see them as the messengers that they are and interpreting that in a way that, yes, it takes a lot of work to be able to practice, because anytime you learn a new language, it's going to take time to be able to really understand that language and be able to be fluent in it. But really, you're teaching fluency in that messenger system. Is that accurate?
I love what you said. I think it is accurate. What I would add to that is that it isn't just, it's right. We're talking a lot about how we want to be in the world, right, but it's also who we want to be in the world, right? Until we do these things and get all the other stuff out of the way and the noise, welcome back.
Thank you.
And the noise out of the way, and the misconceptions,
right,
and not just external noise, but all the internal noise as well. Until we move that stuff out of the way, how do we figure out who we really are, right, and really what we want, what we love, what, you know, and how we show up in the spaces to be, do, become what we came here to be, do, and become.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing that I guess can be the hardest for people is being able to become aware that who you are is from before all the stories. It's you know, it's definitely, it's the core, but being able to make that accessible. I think that's the part, and Angie spoke on the accessibility. And I think that's the part that makes it really hard for people, is there's that, yeah, we know that, you know, we want to be able to live more 5D. We want to be able to be more of who we are. We want to be able to live the life of our dreams and all of that. And people will take workshop after workshop and read all these books and everything, but there's still a lack of accessibility in it, where it's still, I think that you two have a way to bring it to a soul understanding that can skip the monkey chatter in the mind, you know, that you can be able to bypass that. And so can you speak to that a little bit about how you're able to really help that to click into place? Because I feel like you two together really have that special power.
Bex, you're cracking me up because like the reason you're cracking me up saying that is because like monkey mind number 1, living here. Monkey mind number 2, living there. Is that Kat?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, wherever she is. We have like lived in monkey mind.
Right. Right.
So speaking to that is actually part of the superpower and the gift that we both actually bring to the table, because we've lived both of our lives here. You know, I'm a human design specialist, and I actually am a mental projector. For those of you that know what that means, you will know that this is like the space that I reside in is, and I'm gonna, I actually don't normally curse, but I'm gonna call it the mind fuckery of like,
they said it too.
of like what we are, right? Like,
yep.
This space is overutilized today in our society, and it creates something that is removes us. It's almost like you know, a deterrent. Like, it removes us from our feelings. We overanalyze, we over project, we over strategize, we overdo, it definitely is something that creates it's not a holistic balance. It's meant to be used as an operating tool, and we use it as a space of life and life force and life energy. And it's about creating a cohesive balancing of the effects of the feelings of being here and what that can really create for you, the smallest minute shifts and changes, the awarenesses around those changes and where you've come from, and the expansive and limitless possibility that really is accessible to us that we have not even scratched like any surface on. I think what we believe to be possible is kind of laughable, honestly, from what is truly possible. And it's a matter of being in it and living it and enacting it. And so I thank you for your comment. And I can tell you that, yeah, we know how to speak to the mind.
Yeah, what I'll add in there, what I feel strongly in what you're saying is when you speak to inaccessibility, I feel like a lot of that is the stuff that's in the way that can be difficult for us to detect about ourselves, all of us. And so to have the support of two people who can really dig into literally what you designed on purpose to create challenge in your space, and what's in your way in all the places, literally, with regard to the DNA, the family lineage, the past life experiences, what you've developed while you're here, yourself, and from outside sources as well. Being able to kind of really see through, okay, well, here's where your perception is a little off base. And if you tweak this thing, you would better see this thing and come to understand. And hey, why don't, let's give this a try. Like, humor us, really. Engage in this for a week and let us know what you uncover, even if it feels uncomfortable, right? So to have a personal guide in the space who can take the material and really apply it to you, is a life-changing experience. It really is. So that's what is present to me in what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's a powerful combination. I think the thing that, the fact that you two can teach it from a place of being able to relate to it, I think is what, how would someone be able to come to you and say, hey, this is, I can offer you a different way of being able to really hone your abilities and feed your passion that you haven't experienced before, is because you two have been able to go through all the ways it didn't work before, right?
Oh, God, yes.
And I love, Rhonda, can you throw up Melinda's comment? I thought I couldn't help. She put mental masturbation.
Oh, yeah, she said that. But before that, she said she'd like to clear it all in one shot.
Yeah.
It sounds like you
too.
go through.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people spend their life going through the onion layers, right?
Yeah.
To get onto the onions. So this is a way of going from the onion out. So you just blast out the layers. You don't even care about the layers because you're right at the center. Is that what I'm getting from that?
Well, and I'd like to speak with that. I think that there are ways that that's possible. I also want to acknowledge the beauty of the journey. And I think that this is where we get a little mired in, like, I don't want to be in what I'm in. And, awareness is actually developed. It's not something that can be imparted. It is literally developed within you. And when that happens, you actually create something different for yourself because it becomes yours. It's your awareness. It's your purview. It's what you are bringing to the table. It creates a state of authenticity. And I would like to say that I find tremendous value and beauty in the journey, and blowing it out. I can just tell you, based on how the universe works and the fractal environment that we live in, like, going from a space to a space, like, energetically, your body isn't going to be able to hold it. Like, we can't hold those things by trying to move at a speed and a pace with which we're not ready. And so there's balance and harmony in the way nature works. And we are a part of nature. We are not separate from it. We are not in any way living outside of it. And I think that understanding, finding the grace and the space and the lovely, loving ways that you can sit with yourself in the acceptance of what you're going through as a human being on this planet, there is nothing more delightful to come out on the other side of that with the awareness. And it strengthens and deepens everything about your experience here. And so that's what I would say to that. There is beauty in our human experience. And when we learn to embrace all of the aspects, it gets deeper and more aligned for us.
Subscribe.
Yeah, I agree completely, because it gives you a deeper appreciation. It gives you a deeper sense of, being able to look back on your journey and recognize all the things that all the shifts and changes you've made, where you were before, and having appreciation for who that person was at that time that had to go through those things or survive, even just, to be able to get to the next day. I like how you talked about not being able to hold onto hold the emotions or the experiences, because we haven't really created that in ourselves. We're, spending so much time at this certain frequency that when we get to a frequency that we want to experience, a lot of times people give up if it's not lasting. Oh,
Yes.
well, never mind, it didn't work because it didn't last very long. Like, I have a lot of people say happiness is fleeting. I don't know if I want to be happy because it doesn't last very long. That's because you haven't learned how to harness and hold the space for that and be in that frequency long term. And I think that's a really important part as well, is that there aren't a lot of real deep understandings of how to develop that muscle, if you will, to be able to hold a frequency of a vibration that you want to experience more of. So how would you speak to that? Like, what would you give somebody for advice on how to kind of transition into being able to hold a higher frequency longer than a fleeting moment?
I want to read, I get it, one of my big blocks, accepting the humanness. So my awareness around this particular topic is that the way that we get to the peace, the joy, the bliss, the fulfillment, the happy, if you will, all the good stuff, right, is by being able to hold a spectrum of frequency and not just one. Every single thing that we come here to experience has a challenge state, and then a limited state and an unlimited state, a challenge state and a gift state, if you will. And it's, for instance, pain and pleasure, right? Rejection, acceptance,
joy and sorrow.
Yeah,
they're analogously held in the same space. And when the more you experience one side, if you were to look at it, this as a pendulum swinging, which I always like to do because it really is polarity, the more you can hold, the more it can swing to one side, the more accessibility you have to the other. And that, again, broadens, deepens, widens the channel. Sorry, Kat, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's perfect. You're speaking my language. And being able to develop the awareness in the moment, so that when you understand and are aware of what is happening, what you're feeling, where you are, what's accessible here. This is a lesson, not a condemnation, not a life sentence, right? What else is available here? And then ultimately develop a state through practice and understanding where you're not doing this, but you've got access to the circle, the entire circle of emotion that's available there, and the ability to hold all of it and pulse rather than swing and
Right.
So yes, yeah, absolutely, to what you said. And what we're referencing is part of building your light body, which that in and of itself is a life-changing experience.
Yeah, and just like awareness is developed, your light body is built. It's not something that is accessible without being able to hold like the spectrum of what's accessible in the full, getting out of the swing of the pendulum and into the circle of what's available there for you.
So can you tell us some specifics about the course, like, and the group, and what you're doing and your offer this week? Because I know, like, a lot of people might really want to get into this group and get some working on their light body and getting stronger and maybe becoming more of what they're supposed to be, and letting go of all the trash that's been thrown at us.
Well, what I would speak to is, the first thing I want to say is that we've made the course digestible, consumable, assimilatable, and there's a lot of support. It's actually a class, a group scenario. It's attached to a community, and so we meet in the space of the class we are also available in the community throughout the week in various ways. We present in the community. We have what we call exploration hall, but it's a study hall type of scenario that people can show up for and ask questions and get to know each other better and really build community support and a lot of fun together as they go through this space. We've decided to do it in group format because the energies coming together, and we're prescriptive about who we put in groups together. The energies that we all have access to, again, speaking to that when we come together, are expansive. But also, to be frank, want it to be more accessible for people. And it's easier for us to make it more accessible, more affordable in the group format. We care about what we're doing, and we want to reach as many people as we possibly can. Our goal is really to help every single person that we can feel better, embody better, have the experience that they're here to have, the divine right, really, the abundant expression of self and communion with others that we're all here to have. We're very invested in it. The other piece I just want to say really quickly, because we haven't really talked about this, is manifestation. I think there are a lot of misconceptions about what that is, and most people, I feel like, don't really understand how that operates, how to do it. How do you get the expression on the, this is what we're really talking about, how do you get the expression on the outside to match what you can dream of, not what's on the inside. The expression on the outside will match what's on the inside 100% of the time. How do you address what's here so that you can manifest what you can dream of, so that you will actually choose that dream scenario, and why haven't you thus far? What has been in your way? There's some secret sauce there, I'm telling you. There are a lot of misconceptions about that, and it's something that I am passionate about. So just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, that's a very powerful piece. I'm a human design manifester, and I still don't get it. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't, and I haven't figured out, exactly how. But I do know that for me, it's about feeling it, right? Feeling what it's going to feel like to have that, and really stepping into that, being in that, not just when you're visualizing, but trying to hold that all the time. And it helps to make it, but it can be challenging if you don't understand why you're feeling what you're feeling, or if you don't have that, like that fluency in your body language and your emotional language, you're not going to know how to really step into that to be able to manifest that life. So I love that you're bringing that in too.
Yeah, also a human design manifester. So
yeah. Awesome.
I'm a manifestor generator, or generator manifestor, one or the other. Sorry.
Manifesting generator, I think, right?
Yeah.
I'd also like to share that with human design in particular, for me, I think that it's important to notice too that it's a, boy, is it a complex system. I'm going to throw that out there. It's a complex system. And a lot of times with the information, there's a lack of applicability to the information. It becomes just information. And I know that is really kind of the niche. Like, I'm not here to teach human design. I am here to teach you through human design. And there is a different mechanism with which I deploy it that is important because it's about you. I'm not here to teach you the system. I don't think that you need to know the system. You need to know you.
Yeah, it's nice to know what you are, but so what, unless I can use it, right?
Yeah, it's just words, unless you know what it means and how it really applies to you. So
and how do I use it? And that's the big thing. So that's what you're getting to when you do one-on-one sessions, and you sort of dive into that person and then show them sort of who they are, and then you teach them what to do.
We definitely do one-on-one. Again, it's like two-on-one, yes, because it's Kat and I both. And then We actually do a lot of individualized information in the group because we learn more about ourselves in relation to others. We don't live in a vacuum either, right? So understanding the nuances, the variances, the differences actually creates appreciation for the distinction of who we are and how we're here to show up and embody differently. The appreciation for me becomes the appreciation for someone else in how different they are, not in our likenesses. It's easy to like someone who's like you, typically.
Sometimes.
I don't know.
Typically.
Sometimes those are the toughest ones.
And it's a little more difficult when we're in challenge with others to go, well, I wanted you to be this way, which is exactly what you would have done in the situation. That is how we typically approach relationships. Here's what I need from you. Show up like what I would do for you, and then everything will be fine. But that's not what we're intended to be. We are intended to stand in the authenticity of who we are and find the love, the self-respect, and the graciousness that we bring to the table and emanate that outwards. It becomes I receive myself to share myself with the world. And when we can all stand in that sort of authority of ourselves, the compassion flows from us. It's not what we think it is.
I feel that. Yeah. Whew. That gave me goosebumps. That was good.
Yeah.
Speaking to my soul.
Yeah, I think the resentment is the biggest thing when people want you to act a way or be a way that's not you. And they want you to be that way so they feel comfortable. And the acceptance is letting them be who they are and just think, oh, cool. Because wouldn't it be a really boring world if all the birds were brown? You know?
Yes, and of course you went to a bird analogy.
Sorry, yes, I did.
I absolutely love that because the birds around you are so particularly beautiful and varied.
They are.
And it would be so, and your photography is so amazing.
Yes.
It would be so boring if everybody around us was anything. All the people around us were like kind of like us. I mean, okay, really that's what's going on right now. And it is so boring. Everybody's trying to fit into a box. And when you meet somebody that stands out, when you meet somebody who's different, who's embodying themselves, everyone is drawn to that person, right? Like there's the integrity and the authenticity that all of us recognize. And not only will the world be less boring, but we will all be able to provide what we're all here to provide because not one of us is here to do what anybody else is here to do. And so put that in perspective, right? None of us, I mean, I'm making gross generalizations, but a lot of us, most of us are not doing what we came here to do. And what would the world be like if we did?
I think my mind's more blown at the idea that not one of us is meant to do the same, like, you know, or not more than one of us, whatever is meant to do the same thing. Like if you think about the unlimited possibilities of roles out there, when we've become so limited in our understanding of what roles we have, you know, that's completely mind blowing.
Yeah, I think the context of relationship and that confinement we were talking about exists with this new topic that we've introduced, which is how do you show up in the world? Like it's still limitation and confinement. And I think that that's what Pat and I are really here to dispel is limitation and confinement. That is not what we are here to live into.
That's so cool.
Uh-huh.
Melinda says she was just climbing in for an afternoon nap, and then she saw your name, so she came on over. That's awesome. So, ladies, where can we find you? I mean, we put your information in, and you're offering like free mini sessions. Is that correct? And that information there's a link right there in the information that's attached to this video, to this Facebook, to this podcast, no matter when you're listening. So you can go there and hook up with Angie and Kat and get your free mini session and see if this program is something you've been looking for. I'm sure if you're listening to it now, it may be one of those things that have sparked you into it. So go there. Is that about the best way to get a hold of you two right now? I mean, you're on
Or they
social
could call
media,
me
blah, blah.
at, no, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, I mean, Kat and I would love to invite you to just come experience with us, come play with us, come see what it's about for you. It really is something that we're creating an experience around, and that experience is for you and about you.
Yeah. So come up with your one burning question or a challenge that you'd like some insight around, or it's not going to be just us talking to you about what we're going to do. We want to share ourselves with you fully in the time that we have for you.
That's awesome. Okay, so ladies, we have the three favorite questions. This is usually Bex's turn. I feel like I should send it over to her because I stole it last week. So I'll ask my question, and then you can ask the other questions. Okay. Since we've talked since last fall, have either one of you had some extraterrestrial or extra dimensional contact?
Uh-huh.
Tell us about that right now. Who's sitting beside you right now?
Extra dimensional, maybe daily, throughout the day, every day. The one that was extra, I want to speak to extra dimensional right now. One that was so present for me and has been present for me, I mentioned this to you guys right before I came on, I was looking for some insight, is dragons. They have come into, I don't know if they've come into my space. I've become aware of them and have invited them, and they have shown up in beautiful ways that have been mind-blowing over and over again. And for the last, I don't know, a little less than a week, there's a beautiful, enormous dragon that made himself known with regard to the space of this. And I don't really, it's very new, and I don't really know what's the deal there just yet, other than I really love him. He feels really good.
That's cool. And the color of the dragon, maybe somebody knows more about dragons. I know Teresa loves dragons and is our dragon lady, but she her internet plopped out on her, so she can't.
We have a lot of that this week too.
Yeah, I don't know if that's there's a lot of geostorms and whatever else is going on. So maybe your dragon rode in on an aurora borealis stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that idea.
Yeah.
How about you, Angie?
So this is gonna be like maybe a dumb question, but like so I went to Kat's house over the holiday.
I know what you're gonna say.
It's really the only thing I could think of. And I had an experience that was actually quite new for me. I would call it extra dimensional. But it was not exactly super pleasant in some ways. And it was interesting because I have not historically been exposed to things like that. And so her house is a fascinating little vortex of stuff.
There is a lot going on this property. There's I have a history with this property. I was brought back here, and it's been a journey.
So we had to like clear some things, and I had to kind of stand in something a little differently. So again, for those of you that know human design, being a projector, I have a very open and enveloping aura, and it's not something that I usually take a whole lot to manage. And I had to manage it in that space. It was interesting.
It's interesting, the contact that you coming up against all those extra dimensions that it started, you could really feel them.
Yeah.
Place in her vortex, circle of trees and everything else that she's got going down there. Yeah.
Are you guys going to share yours?
Well, except for the whatever's above my house right now, I'm not sure. Like, I was talking to Commander Ashtar this morning, So I don't know if that was like, okay, I'm supposed to contact him and channel him today. So I was just thinking maybe, but I see lights in the sky. It's like there's a spaceport beyond my house somewhere, and everybody will, I'm sure rolling their eyes that know me, but some of you have seen it with me. So there you go.
I have.
Oh yes.
If
Okay.
you more than once.
Yeah. So I'm waiting for Bex to come up here and we'll do the sky watch. Melinda and I did sky watch. We had flashing here too at the house. So they flash
That would be
us.
so cool.
Okay, so ladies, what are your favorite crystals you're working with, or are you working with crystals? Like, I don't know.
Rose quartz.
Rose quartz?
Oh, that's a big one. It's kind of, I feel like always. It comes up. I have palm trees, and I don't know, palm trees end up at the bottom, like you can see roots. There's a root ball under the ground, but there's like this massive stuff that comes up because they grow from the top. So they're always doing this. And so what came up from under the ground. So there's actually rose quartz in the trees, which is
wow, that's amazing.
It is amazing. And then like big chunks of it in the yard. And I'm always drawn to it. I'm just always drawn to it. I have a rather large, really beautiful portal in the backyard in this circle of trees. And there are frequently just pieces that just pop up there. And that's what always pops up there. And that's what I feel drawn to. So
that's kind of an amazing story all in itself.
It
I can
is.
just see it. So you've got generator palm trees generating this portal with the rose quartz in their centers.
It sure feels, that's a pretty cool statement. I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it. Okay, cool. That's awesome. How about you, Angie? Like,
I like rocks. I said this last time too. I just like rocks. I think they're I always find special and unique rocks.
do you find the heart-shaped ones like Linda finds everywhere in the world? Like anywhere she goes, she happens to find a rose heart-shaped rock.
No, no hearts.
I still have on my altar my heart-shaped rocks from Melinda.
Yeah. And she just finds them. So you like rocks? Well, I can relate because before, when I was a kid, that's what I would pick up rocks everywhere and put them in my pockets. So
I was always drawn to white ones. I always thought white ones were the special ones when I was a kid. I don't know why. Always the white ones.
I just was seeing from Teresa. Thank you so much. I really resonated with all this today. I'm all about authenticity. I'm going to be looking into this. Oh, thank you, Angie. So just click on that little link, Teresa, and you'll find how to get in touch with them. Okay, and the last question, Bex, you can give it to them.
Okay. All right. So this is, just for right now. You don't have to make it, we say lifetime, or I do, but it can be right now. But what is your theme song for right now, if you had to pick one?
I never know song titles, but almost anything Harry Styles. Tanya has brought Harry Styles into my life, and I am
That's awesome. As It Was has been stuck in my head for like a month now. I'm singing it all the time. That's the one that's on the radio. I love it. It's so catchy.
This is definitely not a lifetime one, and I don't even know why it's in my space. But when you ask that, I hear Better, Faster, Stronger by Daft Punk.
That's a good song.
Wow. Awesome. Better, faster, stronger. That's a good theme to have.
Yeah, it feels real good right now. I can like my little body's moving to it. So
oh man, that's awesome. Thank you, ladies, for being here this week. We really enjoyed it. And Metamorphosis Healing Crystal says yes. Oh yes. Okay. Lots of people in here that we signed. So yeah, we're all rock people.
Yes.
Rock and roll. Sorry.
Yay!
Dad jokes. Okay.
Thank you to all of you that showed up as well. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and
thank
you're
everyone.
on the replay, so like I said, you can get in touch with them. Your website's name is current. What's the website name? Sorry.
Well, so
Okay.
we don't have our website up. We just have like a couple of the pages. So,
Okay, so
but the free mini session is at ourcurrent.life because
okay.
we're all currently in life.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
I love
okay.
that.
That's perfect. And do you have a group up now that people can join on Facebook, or your Facebook page is called?
Yeah, so we actually are on Mighty Network, and the community is called Current. I actually have a website as well, and you can send an email to voice@ourcurrent.life, and we will totally connect with you if you just want to chat and not necessarily set up the free mini session. But I promise you will not be remiss to set that up.
Okay. And when do you actually start your group? When have you got a start date, or is it when you show
So
up the party starts?
the class launch is end of June.
Okay.
What we typically like to do is, as we're putting the groups together, see what everybody's schedule is like and see if we can group people in ways that work together, so we have some flexibility, and we're not we're as supportive of people's lives as we can be. So don't have a specific start date yet during the week, but it'll be the end of June.
Okay. Great. Thank you so
And
much.
I want to say thank you for you guys too. I so love getting to see you guys and catching up. And I wish Teresa was here too. I'm bummed that she's not here, but
Mm,
it's so fun to see you guys and
it is.
talk with you guys.
Yeah. Well,
It's been so expansive. Like, awesome. So good.
I feel the same way every time I'm around you. I like it's it's what we talked about. More becomes available.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just tapping into everybody. It's awesome. Thanks so much, ladies.
Who's the
And
winner, Rhonda?
oh yes, guys, I even wrote it down because my brain isn't working that well. Katerina Pretza.
Yay, Katerina!
Yay, Katerina, you won a soul spa meditation healing session with us, and we'll send you the link. And thanks for joining us, and we'll get it out to you guys shortly. So I'm going to get the brand and get this going. So thank you again, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.